Good morning, ladies and gents. Alrighty, taking up your 5 whole questions worth of unit review for this. We'll do the other 5 today. So number 1 was just asking you to say which 2 whole numbers these lie between. So I chose B and F to do with you. So square root 11. And again, the key with estimating square roots is just knowing your noun. Your perfect squares. Okay, so which 2 perfect squares is square root 11 closest to? Well, 3, its perfect square is 9. 4, its perfect square is 16. And 11 is between 9 and 16. So we know that square root 11 is going to be somewhere closer, somewhere between 3 and 4. Since 9 is closer to 11 than it is to 16, square root 11 is going to be very roughly 3. That's all they wanted for 1. It's just, which one is it closest to? F asked for an estimate of square root 86. Okay, well, I know that 9 times 9 is 81, and 10 times 10 is 100. 81 is closer to 86 than 100 is, so square root 86 is going to be closer to 9. For 2, now they're asking you to go a little bit more exact. They would like a decimal place rounded to the tenths. So you're going to see like how many numbers it actually is away from it. So again, I've chosen B and F. Square root 75. Well, 8 times 8 is 64, and 9 times 9 is 81. So I know it's between 8 and 9, but how many away from each of these is it? Well, square root 75 is 11 away from 64, and it is 6 away from 81. So I know it's closer to 81. It's not right on top of it, but it's fairly close. With this gap, 11 and 6, it's not like they're the same. It's not like it's 5 and 5 away. If that was the case, it would be 8.5. Or, it doesn't have to be 5 and 5. Just if it's the same gap, then you know that it's right between. It's obviously closer to 81. So a good estimate would be about 8.7. Square root 114. So 10 times 10 is 100. 11 times 11 is 121. And now we see how far is it away from 100 and 121. It's 14 away from 100, 7 away from 121. So we know it's closer to 121. So again, I took an estimate of about 10.7 for that one. 3 was just asking you, just flipping to the page. Yeah, they just wanted you to break out the old calculator and round it to 1 decimal place, or to the tenths place. So square root 84 is 9.2. Square root 1200 is 34.6. I imagine those were the 2 easiest ones going. 4, when students come across it, tends to give them a little bit of a problem, but it's just a good practical application. So they say you've got a square blanket, and as you can see, I've drawn a perfect square blanket. And they tell you that it has an area of 16,900 centimeters squared. And they said, what's the side length? Well, to go from a perfect square to a side length only, you square root it. And that's all you have to do for this, is just square root 16,900. And it tells you that the blanket has 130 centimeter sides on it. Okay, moving on to number 5. With that one, they were getting more into just finding missing sides using Pythagorean theorem. So, there's 5a, sorry. So, with this one, I drew it out. So they gave us a 30 centimeter side, a 16 centimeter side. And they say, find the missing sides. Okay, well, I'm doing Pythagorean theorem. The only real challenge is, which side is missing, A, B, or C. Remember that A and B are the sides that touch the 90-degree angle. They're the short ones. C is the longest side, and it's diagonally opposite that 90-degree angle. It doesn't matter which of these 2 you label A and B. This side must be C, otherwise it doesn't work. So clearly it's C that's missing. Okay, so I dumped in 30 and 16 for A and B, squared them for 900 and 256, added them together. So that 1156 again is saying if this side here was a perfect square, it would have an area of 1156. So how do you go from a square area down to just a side length? Well, you square root it. Okay, so and opposite of squaring something is square root. So that brings me down to just C, and square root of 1156 is 34. And then I chose 5B because they have one of this side missing. And again, what side is that? Well, A and B are the two shortest sides that touch the 90-degree angle. C is the longest side that's diagonally opposite that 90-degree angle. So that's C. This can be A or B. So I threw in 21 for A. B is our unknown. 35 is C. Squared them for 1,225, 441. Subtract 441 from both sides. Leaves me with just B squared, 784. Square root that to get just B, and you get 28. Okay, and then 5C is going to be same setup as this. It's side B that's missing. And then for today's work, excuse me, you get to do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And 10 is basically practicing the surface area and volume of a pentagonal prism this time instead of a hexagonal prism. So it's only 5 sides. So you only get 5 triangles, not 6 like we've been practicing. Alrighty. So enjoy. Have a great day. And then, it looks like we'll be doing this test on Friday. Okay. Bye for now.